At this time, I'd like to welcome you and call to order the December 6, 2016 regular scheduled meeting of the Davie County Board of Education. First item on the agenda is the invocation. If you would, please bow with me. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect our great county, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen. At this time, I would welcome Girl Scout Troop 12583 up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Thank you so much. You're a very brave young lady. We appreciate that. Excuse me. At this time, we're moving on to the recognition of our outgoing board members. And I would like to say a few words, and then I will pass it off to the other board members if they want to have some comments, and the outgoing members. Excuse me. We don't serve on this board for thanks and recognition. We serve on this board because we want to contribute to the community that we love. We may not always see eye to eye on every issue as board members, but at the end of the day, we can all agree that we are striving to do what is best for the children and people of Davie County. Tonight, we're recognizing two people who have done exactly that. Carol Livengood has served on this board for 12 and a half years, has a compassion for children that is second to none. She advocated tirelessly for the students and staff that we served during her tenure, and we are grateful for the time she has given to Davie County Schools. Steve Ridenauer, who served for 6.5 years, brought a persistent and passion to this board that allowed us to critically examine each decision we made. As a board, we would like to thank him for his commitment to Davie County Schools. Would you please join me in recognizing these two dedicated individuals? Now at this time, I would like to turn it over to the other board members. If you have any comments for Steve and Carol as they leave us tonight, and then we'll turn it over to Steve and Carol for a moment if they have anything.
I have to say something because Carol and I go back way, way, way back. When I first came on board as a principal, she was at Macedonia Preschool, and we worked together transitioning preschoolers to kindergartner. Then she was on the board, and she was my boss as a principal, and I appreciate the commitment that she gave to me then. Then we got to be board members together, and I have to say, style, class, and compassion is what my friend Carol is, and I'm going to miss her. Steve sat beside me for the past 6 years. He's been a kind gentleman. I appreciate him for his way of sharing information as well as the dialogue and the discussion that we have, and his heart is in Davie County also. The one thing I'll miss about Steve is his clicker that he used to click on his ink pen during the meetings, to the point where we actually gave him an ink pen that didn't click. So we wish you the best, and thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you.
I said this to both of them before, but I want you to both to know again that I very much appreciate your willingness to work with me as not a rookie anymore, but I was a rookie for a while, and Carol said it earlier today, you can think you know all there is about it before you get there, but until you're in the seat and having to go through the meetings and the discussions and to get the results, I just didn't know. And same with Wendy and Clint, we all came on the same time. But I want to thank you very much for supporting the rookies for that period of time, and willingness to talk after hours a lot of times, and information back and forth to help us do our job. Thank you very much.
Well, I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I am going to anyhow. So now, Clint, you're next. Carol, we go back a long ways, and I just want to thank you for the guidance you've provided all of us over the years. I knew you well before the Board of Education ever even crossed my mind as far as serving. So I just want to thank you, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. Steve, it's been good to serve with you, and I always laugh because Steve was my Little League coach, so it's kind of comes full circle when you go from being on the softball field to sitting at this desk, and it humbles you. So, Steve, I just want to thank you. I know there's been times we probably haven't always agreed, but I know not too long ago I heard you say that, what makes a good board is when you have folks who don't agree, and because that makes us all do a better job. So I just want to thank you, and I hope you enjoy your retirement, and I hope you catch a lot of fish, and y'all ride off into the sunset, and enjoy your time. You've definitely earned it.
The pressure has been put on me. If you were at last week's meeting, I don't have to say how far back Carol and I go. But anyway, she's been affecting me a long time ago, since I was in middle school, as far as a positive influence, and it's been an honor to serve with her and to see her affect the county with her just positive outlook and changing people's lives. So thank you both, Steve. It's been great getting to know you better. I consider you a friend, and don't know if that would have happened if we hadn't served on the board together. So thank you for both for your service.
I'll go first because it'll take her a long time. But anyway, yeah, it's 6.5 years, and 99% of it's been wonderful. And but as I said, at the last meeting, and I think Wendy mentioned it, is that debate and disagreement, there's nothing wrong with it, but we just have to be civil and move past it. And once the decision's made, it's made, and you just have to move forward. We're in a difficult situation. I say we're in a difficult situation. We're probably in the best county in North Carolina that we could be in in dealing with public education. But Colonel Hales, I think he mentioned something about what advice would I give, and the only thing I would say is kind of in this room, it's about education. But really it's about the education and the hearts of our children. And we've got to, if we educate them but lose their hearts, or what have we gained? And so it's all about it. It's to me, that's what it's about. It's about winning the hearts for our children and educating them. And I just think Colonel Hales, I don't know if that's good advice or not, but if you just always keep that in your mind, is not only to educate them, but win their hearts. And I guess, I've known Carol for a long time. I've enjoyed serving with her. For 6.5 years, I've made fun of her. And, you know, and we've laughed, and we've had a lot of laughs together. And kind of alluding to what Clint said, I will say this. I love both of my son-in-laws and my daughter-in-law, and I wouldn't want any, that's kind of an inside joke, but anyway, I wouldn't take anybody else than the two I've got, son-in-laws and the daughter-in-law. I wouldn't trade them for anybody. That's all I got to say.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin with that, other than it's obvious from everybody that I go back a long way. So that must mean that I'm the senior citizen here. And I have loved working with you too. I've loved working with everybody on this board. And I want to thank the people of Davie County for giving me the opportunity to serve. I have met the most wonderful people. Teachers, administrators, students, parents, children. It is something that I will treasure. Matter of fact, I woke up this morning and I realized I'm really going to miss a lot of this because I'm a people person, and I think Steve hit it right, you know, just said the perfect words about reaching the hearts of children, because that's kind of why I ran, because I thought I had a heart for children, and that's the way I feel. Davie County is a great, great place to call home. I wrote some things down because I didn't want to mess up like I did last week with Clint. And if you weren't here, I won't even go into that. Watch the TV thing, and we'll let that go. But Clint is a great guy. But one of the reasons I believe that Davie County is such a great place to live is because, unlike maybe some other parts of the world, it seems to me, and even the United States, we seem to have our priorities right. We have our faith out front, then our families. We have a strong work ethic. And I have seen that, and I'm so proud to be a part of a county that lives that way. I've seen that in our superintendent, who exemplifies that. I mean, he leads that way. I've seen that in every board member, and I've worked with over 20 board members. And that has been, that's been a wonderful thing to be a part of. So I'm very proud and humbled, and I love this county. You all are getting two amazing people coming on the board. Colonel Hales, Mr. Potts. I've certainly had the opportunity to work with Mr. Potts, and they're going to do a great job. We have great things ahead of us in this county. One thing I'm really looking forward to is 2017 in August, when we cut the ribbon on that high school. And I'm proud of that because our community came together and we found a solution for kids and for our children, and I'm so excited to have been a part of that. It was really funny, as I was walking out the door today, I just checked I had to turn my laptop in, or not my iPad in, so I checked my last little bit of text messages, and there was a post on there, and I thought, I can't believe this is the last thing I'm going to see, because this is just what I feel. And that's what I'd like to leave you with. And it says, it was a quote from Mother Teresa, actually. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And that's what I really believe. And I thank you again so much, and thank you all, and I'll miss every one of you.
Thank you, you guys.
Mr. Chairman, if I may say.
Yes, sir.
Thank you on behalf of the staff at Davie County Schools for your service. I can tell you that almost 6 years ago, when I first met the two of you and the other members of this board, you thought you were interviewing me, but I was really interviewing you to see if this might be a good fit. And from the first time we met, I could tell that this board and this community was a very special place. And it's because of service of people like you that make Davie County Schools what it is. I don't want you to ever forget that this board sets the tone for how hard this staff works. And you have a staff that supports you because we know that you support us. And for that, we say thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hartness. And now if you guys would step up front, and I'd like to present you with your recognition plaques.
You want us to take everything with us?
Get your stuff. We love you, but come on.
behalf of the Davie County Board of Education, again, I would like to congratulate you and thank you for your service to Davie County. That's right, yes, sir.
Just not the
Carol, on behalf of the Davie County Board of Education, I'd like to thank you for your service, and congratulate you on your time moving forward. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, you do. Let's give these two.
Thank you.
So at this time, I would ask the Honorable Judge Jimmy Myers to come forward, and he's going to administer the oath of the office for our newly elected, or re-elected members, and also for our newly elected members.
All those will come forward with their families. Any family member would like to hold the Bible or before I administer the oath, I just want to take a moment of personal privilege. And, well, yes, if we're going to do it all at once, I think. Unless y'all want to do it separately. Oh, no. Okay. I look up here and I see David with bold orange letters. And I think tonight of William Richardson Davie, the namesake of Davie County. We are blessed that William Richardson Davie is our namesake. Let me tell you a little bit about William Richardson Davie and why I think it's a blessing to be in a county named after him. William Richardson Davie was a general in the American Revolution, Colonel. Yes, he was in the Army too, by the way. Better. And after the war was over, he studied law. Well, he actually studied law prior to becoming a general in the Army, but he studied law in Salisbury, North Carolina, and he became a leader in the state of North Carolina after the war was over. He came home. He used his life to benefit his state. And he was elected to the state legislature. And while there, he became very, very interested in public education. And in 1793, he led the effort to establish the first state university in this country, the University of North Carolina, and was there and laid the cornerstone at Old East and Carolina and established the first state university. And over the years, we here in Davie County have educated youngsters, including me, who went to that University of North Carolina and received a degree. And I think tonight as you are getting ready to become leaders in Davies County, think back about the heritage that we have in him, especially Colonel, a military man like you, having served our country and now serving our community. And I say that for all of you because this is very special to serve our community on this school board, because I think what we do for children is the most important work that we do in life. I can't help but preach a sermon here in front of all these people. But Dove asked me if I was going to preach a sermon tonight. I was a little. But thank you for your commitment in doing this and for the coming 6 years. And it's my prayer that God will guide and direct each of you to make those decisions that will benefit the children of this county and truly follow in the footsteps of William R. Davies, for whom this wonderful county is named. Now,
It's only 4 years, sir.
oh, is it just 4? I was going to give you more time.
I thought you knew something I didn't know.
All right. Okay. Does anyone wish to affirm? Okay. If you would, place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Say I and pronounce your name.
I, Larry Hales,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the State of North Carolina,
of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Davie County Board of Education.
as a member of the Davie County Board of Education.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, and thank you for your commitment to serve.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wilson for the reorganization of the board.
Board members, as you know, I serve as general counsel for a number of boards around the state, and there is a rumor that Carol Livengood mentioned yet again today that you are my favorite board, but I refuse to confirm or deny that rumor. But it is my pleasure to open up nominations for chair of the board for the 2016-17 year, well, actually beginning now through next December of 2017. So, are there nominations, please?
I would like to nominate Chad Fuller as chairman. I want to say real quick why this sort of hit me like it did, because he's been the chairman for a few years now, a couple of years now. Whenever we went to the topping out ceremony and walked in to see the new high school, I just thought there's no way we can open this school up and not have Chad Fuller as the chairman because of the hours of dedication that he has put in, among others, but I could not imagine him not being there. So I nominate Chad Fuller to take us the rest of the way. So it's my honor to nominate him.
Are there other nominations? Well, then nominations are closed. Would everybody please vote by acclamation that Chad Fuller be chairman of the Davie County Board of Education? All those in favor say aye. All right, my job is done, and it was pretty quick.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence. Mr. Junker, I appreciate that, but I've played a very small role, my friend. I've played a very small role, and there's a lot of other people that have put a lot more time into that than I have, but I'm glad to serve and glad to be a part of it. Glad to see Davie County moving forward with that. At this time, I will open the floor up for nominations for vice chair.
It would be an honor and a privilege to nominate Clint to remain as vice chair for the same reasons that he gave for Chad. He's been here through thick and thin and has done a great job as vice chair.
Thank you. So we have a nomination on the floor of Mr. Junker. Do we have any other nominations? Seeing no other, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Junker is our vice chair by unanimous vote. At this time, we're moving on to the board agenda, and I will ask for a nomination to adopt the agenda. Let's see, let me get my bearings here. I apologize. Yeah, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. We have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Hales. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Now we're moving on to the approval of the minutes for the November 1st meeting. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second by Mr. Junker. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. At this time, we're moving on to important dates, and I'll point out a few important dates this evening just quickly. The board, some members of the board will be going to, on December the 9th, to the PTEC celebration breakfast, along with some of the staff, to recognize one or maybe two of our schools. And then our board will have their graduation on the 12th at Shady Grove, starting at 12:30. We have the Pine Brook Dare graduation at 9 a.m. on the 13th. On December the 15th, we have the William R. Davie Dare graduation at 1 o'clock. And then our next meeting will be in here on the 10th of January, starting at 6 p.m. And that's all I have for important dates for now, and I'll turn it over to the superintendent for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I first want to congratulate Mr. Dub Potts, Mr. Terry Hales for joining our board joined a fine group of people. We sure look forward to working with you. I enjoyed the time we spent together already talking about your service on the board. I'll try to keep my comments brief. I know we have a lot of visitors tonight to celebrate some recognition, so I'll keep this very brief. But hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We're now in the Christmas season, and we're all looking forward to spending some time with family at Christmas. I want to also thank everyone who came out to our topping out ceremony a couple weeks ago. We had a tremendous turnout at the new high school, and it was so good to see the community helping us to celebrate that turning point in the construction process. Board, I have attached the legislative priorities of the North Carolina School Administrators Association to your agenda packet. I'd encourage you to look over that, and you'll see what administrators across this state are advocating for and talking about with our legislative representatives in North Carolina. I would also encourage you to stay tuned to your email updates from the North Carolina School Boards Association and the legislative priorities of the School Boards Association. A lot going on in public education in the state of North Carolina right now. We could all talk for many hours about the results of the last election. We have a new president. We'll have a new Secretary of Education. I haven't heard from President-elect Trump this week about coming to speak with him in New York. But, you know, we may get that call. He may want to know what we think here in Davie County. But we will have a new Secretary of Education, and there will be some changes at the federal level with education. We have a new state superintendent. I have reached out to our new state superintendent, and will be meeting with him to discuss priorities in the state of North Carolina. And we have had some conversations, so look forward to that. There has been a plan in place and a development of a plan in place to respond to the federal ESSA Act. That was scheduled to be rolled out in March. That's going to now be delayed till next September. We feel like the new administration will give more flexibility and more leeway to the states, so we're looking forward to that. We have a new governor. It will be interesting to watch the new governor and his priorities with education and how he might work with the legislature and how they might work together. The legislature has signaled a strong desire to look at the way public schools are funded in this state. We will do our best to keep you informed as a public and propose changes to the way schools are funded in North Carolina. We anticipate there will be a study commission after the long session of the legislature to discuss the way schools are funded, so stay tuned for that. One of the legislative priorities that we have this year and is getting a lot of attention right now by the legislature, and we're so grateful, is the compensation of our school-based administrators, our principals. We know that a great school cannot run without a fantastic principal. And right now, North Carolina is ranked 50th in the nation in principal pay. We've had a lot of discussion with some legislators about revising the compensation schedule for North Carolina school principals. I think that's going to get some traction in the long session of the legislative session. So we'll look forward to the state making that a priority, as they have made teacher pay a priority over the last couple years. So I would just encourage this board to stay tuned. A lot will be happening as the legislature gets cranked back up after Christmas. And speaking of that, I wish everyone a fantastic Christmas season.
Thank you for that update, Dr. Hartness. At this time, we're moving on to our update of our new high school project, and I will ask Mr. Jim Moorfield to come up and update us on the progress of the high school.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening and the new board members. If you have any questions, just give me a shout. We don't have a picture up yet. It's coming, I think. But to get started, the first photo, there we go. The first photo that we see this evening shows a concrete pour that started before daylight on the courtyard. I made this picture so you could understand, hopefully, what it was like to put concrete on the ground when it was just dark outside. But it turned out real well, and that courtyard looks fantastic, and I'm sure the students will enjoy it. And then on our next photo, the last time we were together, we talked about the ERVs had arrived on the building at the site. And what you're looking at is the last ERV that's being positioned on the roof over the performing arts classrooms. And those will provide fresh air for the buildings and for the students. So all of those are in place, and the one on the classroom is operating. And during the first part of November, we received our first delivery of propane, and that now is providing heat for the classroom ERV. The GC is running that ERV day and night, and it is providing a somewhat stabilized classroom environment for what we call the drying out of the building. And during this month, we also received all of the casework, the cabinets for all of the classrooms in the tower building, and those have been placed in the building and in the rooms that they will be installed in. And also, over in the main gym, and some of y'all that attended the topping out ceremony witnessed this, the two gyms, the auxiliary gym and the main gym, they have both been painted. The exposed structure has been painted. The basketball goals have all been installed, and they are beginning to paint the walls and of both of those spaces. And you stood on it, but you may not have realized what you were on at the topping out ceremony. But most of the terrazzo in the commons dining room area is in place, and just hasn't been ground, and all the way up to the serving line at the kitchen. And the other thing is that most of the ceiling grid and most of the light fixtures, I guess for all the rooms except for the media center, has been installed in the classroom building. And the next thing that we'll be doing will be installing the ceiling tile, the floor tile, and doing the finished paint on the finished coat of paint on the walls. And speaking of paint, the first floor, all the classrooms will receive an accent wall. First floor classroom accent walls are going to be orange, as you can see in the photo, and the second and third floors will be a different color. So each floor will have a designated accent wall in the classrooms. And before the I guess I should say the much-needed rain that we have, before that happened, the staff parking lot in front of the building was graded, and the vast majority of the stone base was placed on that. But all that outside work has come to an abrupt halt. And the last thing I'd like to bring to your attention is at the stadium, both of the concession restroom buildings the masonry has been completed, and the roof trusses will probably be installed, weather permitting, either this week or next week, to allow the roofing to be put on those buildings. And I wanted to show you one of Eddie's favorite rooms. This is one of the wiring closets in the classroom building, and it looks like a real mess right now. But once that rack that you're looking at has all the switches and all of those wiring or cables are landed onto those switch ports, this will be providing data and a lot of other activities to the portion of the classrooms that this wiring closet will serve. And there are several of these throughout the building. And this one is probably not the worst wiring mess that we have right now. But there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into providing the data and all of the communications in that arena for the students of the school. This is a little bit unusual photograph. It's taken from the floor of the auditorium. And that ductwork that you see will be above the suspended cloud ceiling that will be in the in the auditorium. You'll never see this ductwork. It will be exposed, but the clouds will cover it. And it is probably 28 feet in the air. So things are beginning to take place, and the auditorium is beginning to come together. And we're real proud of that. And the last thing I'd like to do is give you an update on the window frames. At the last meeting, we talked about this briefly. And as you recall, the window frames were damaged by a brick cleaning solution that was unauthorized, but it happened. And coming over this afternoon, I talked to New Atlantic, and the insurance companies, the team of engineers that they had on site have cataloged all of the damaged window frames in the classroom tower. And approximately 50% of those window frames show damage. And they have, the glass company that provided the glass has signed off that no damage was caused to the glass. The caulking manufacturer from the frame to the brick, they have signed off that there was no damage caused to the caulking materials. And I got the report this afternoon that the sealant that maintains the airtight seal between the two panes of glass was not affected by the brick cleaning solution. So the only thing that we have outstanding at this point is approximately 50% of the window frames. And I don't want to say a whole lot that hasn't been documented, but with the reduced scope of the monetary damage, the 4 insurance companies that are involved in this are expected to pick up the tab and pay for the new window frames. The next thing on the list is for that provider, who is YKK, to accept the engineer's report, and we expect that that will happen. And within the next few months, that should be behind us, and the repair work of taking out the existing windows that have been damaged and replacing them should have started and well on its way to be complete well before the school is scheduled to be finished in May. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Moorfield? Yes, sir.
Terry Hales, excuse me, I got the crud. With regard to the 2 things. One, with regard to the budget, do you foresee any changes to that budget in between now and the final closure on this?
No. I don't think there's going to be any major cost change orders that we will incur. We have gone through the vast majority of the construction phase, which is all of the masonry, all of the steel, and now we're just dealing with basically finished type issues. So I don't foresee anything that's going to be drastic.
Okay. And did I understand you to say, sir, that within the next few months, the window issue should be fixed?
It should. Not maybe completely fixed. It should be resolved from the standpoint of the working with the insurance companies and the window supplier. And it will take several months for those windows to be taken out and replaced. But they're expected to do maybe 4 or 5 a day. Weather, they got to work with the weather since we're in the winter season. But we don't. New Atlantic has assured me that they see no problems having that complete well before May the 1st.
Thanks, sir.
I've got one quick question, Mr. Moorfield. So you're, and you, I think you made this fairly clear, but I just want to make sure I understood you correctly. The report that the insurance company's engineers have produced, we're waiting on the manufacturer to decide that the 50% that they've said's good is good, and they'll warranty it. And then after that, it's a matter of dealing with the other 50% and replacing those. That's kind of what we're thinking. Okay, I just want to make sure.
We have, well, everybody knows the position of the board.
Right.
We will accept no frames that do not have a manufacturer's warranty.
Right. Okay, thank you. We have anything else for Mr. Moorfield? All right. Thank you. We appreciate the update. Thank you for all your hard work.
Y'all have a nice Christmas.
Yes, sir, you too. At this time, we're moving on to recognitions of the board, and I'll ask Mr. Wallace to come present the United Way winners to us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Board, it's, again, an opportunity for me to stand before you and recognize some folks that, as we've already talked a lot about dedication tonight, but I want to share with you just a little about our United Way campaign. And just for all of you to know that the Davie County Schools pledged in this most recent campaign to United Way just shy of $31,000. And that is absolutely outstanding. And that is a 5% increase over last year's giving. So, and we all know salaries and incomes of teachers and educators, but again, I think that shows a little bit of their heart as well. And also, at this time, we would like to recognize one school, and I'm going to invite up Mr. Chuck Taylor. Chuck is the, I guess, founder and owner and a lot of things of Sage Garden Care Center. And he's a life coach, he's a pastor, and I think, help me here, and I'm sure you'll help me if I'm wrong. You have 3 children now.
Yes.
And 2 in the hopper. So in not very long, there's going to be 5.
So I'm real grateful for you all.
Yeah, so a little job security here. Chuck leading our capital campaign with United Way and does a fabulous job. Again, just being around Chuck and our meetings, because we usually meet pretty early, so he's pretty lively. Good coffee. But at this time, Chuck will share a few things, and we're going to recognize an individual school, and then we're going to have a special drawing as well. So we'll share that in just a moment. Chuck?
Board members, community staff, thank you so much for allowing the United Way to be such an influential part of this county. You know, we've heard a lot of good things that are going on, and I would love to tell you that everything in this county is absolutely wonderful. The reality is there are children that are still homeless. There are individuals that are sick. There are people who are struggling every single day. What I also know is that we have some incredibly wonderful agencies that are embattled in this struggle to ensure that people get the care and resources they need to make a big difference. And the United Way is on the front lines of making sure that those agencies are funded properly. My wife works for Cancer Services, and she reminds us, unfortunately, we're all one diagnosis away from poverty. And so we need the help of our community to make a tangible difference. So I'm grateful that Davie County is not just invested in schools, it's also invested in community. And when I go to the school system and I see that the school system is the pace setters, the ones who are the first to give, sometimes the individuals who make the least amount of money in our county yet understand the hearts of the people that are most tangibly influenced by these agencies, I see care and I see hope. And for that, I am extremely grateful. So I was given some numbers today by the United Way about some of that work that's been done. First of all, the schools made a huge difference by increasing their gift, and that is an inspiration to the businesses and other individuals in our community that we call on to give. As well, Cindy Shrewsbury, who keeps all the documentation over at United Way, told me that the school that we are recognizing tonight increased their giving by 44.2% over last year. Now, I don't know about you, but 44 sounds a lot, a huge percentage number. And that's at $5,000 for one school, Individuals Who Care. So with that, we would like to thank and recognize South Davie Middle School, led by Miss Lynch and her team. Thank you so much for what you all have done. And not just South Davie Middle School, but all the schools who worked incredibly hard to inspire those to give in our county. We are exceedingly grateful.
All right, one incentive that we also have for our givers is if an employee makes a pledge of at least $45, their name gets put into a bucket, and we receive 2 tickets to a Carolina Panthers game each year. And those tickets are provided by Pierce Group Benefits, one of our vendors or providers. And I have all those people's name right here. This fine young lady here, would you reach in there? Is your name in here? Look, I like throwing one out. All right, so the winner of these tickets belongs to, well, this person's no longer with us. So, and I'll have to, somebody can verify that. So we get to draw again. Well, and we'd get a hyphenated name, Shelley DeAngeli. So she will receive 2 tickets to the Carolina Panthers game. And again, Pierce Group provides those tickets for us through, and Miss Deborah Miller helps us arrange that. We want to say thank you. And again, Chuck, thank you very much for your leadership, being here tonight. Melissa, great job. My goodness, $5,000. Thank you to you and your staff. Great work. Thank you. One other recognition while I'm here, Mr. Chairman. We oftentimes like to recognize our teams and individuals and team efforts. This year, I would like to recognize the 2016-17 Davie County High School women's tennis team. And I know that there are 2 coaches, Coach Byerly and Coach Bullins, are both here. If you would come up, please, and stand up here with me. And any of the teammate or the players that are here, I'd like for them to come on up as well. And if you can just stand in the front right here, the coaches, you can come over here. Players can stand out front if you would. This past year, this group in front of you were undefeated in regular season. 16, Coach? 16 matches in regular season, right?
Well,
In conference.
conference,
14. 14-0 in conference. Also conference champions.
10 and 0 in the conference, 14 in the regular season.
Sorry.
They all run in together eventually.
All right. Come on, Coach. I got new board members up here. I got to be impressive tonight. You got to help me, all right?
You always are impressive.
Okay, thank you. 10-0 in regular season, 14-0, 10-0 in conference, 14-0 in regular season. Also conference champions. Also earned their way to the 3rd round of the state playoffs, which is the first time in school history. Correct?
Correct.
And I want to say thank you, ladies, for your commitment. There's a lot of people in here involved in athletics and other events, and it takes a lot of time and commitment. Parents, thank you. Absolutely thank you, because I know that it's not possible without them. I also want to say thank you to our 2 coaches. Not only are they excellent coaches, but I know both of them been in their classrooms many times. And Coach Bullins is retired, but still stays after it. And Ms. Byerly does a great job, and I want to say thank you as well. And I'm going to ask Coach Bullins if he could just share a few things.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, board members, Dr. Hartness. Definitely has been an honor and a privilege to coach these wonderful student athletes. These young ladies have been great representatives of not only Davie County High School, but Davie County as well. And 2016 Davie High girls women tennis team, or women's tennis team. Individually, Lauren Myers, go ahead and step forward. Thank you. Macy Latham, Sydney Smith, Isalou Ball, Sierra Foster, Shelby Nelson, Laura Becker, Mariah Lane, Emery Rosenbaum, Megan Cash, Claire Myers, Amanda Nago, and other team members are Annie Kinder, Jennifer Nago. I'm trying to think of, yes, thank you, Grace Nixon, and Aubrey Priva, and our great team manager, Sierra Latham. Of course, my wonderful assistant coach, Mary Ann Byerly. And I'd like at this time for the parents of these wonderful young ladies to stand so we can once again recognize those parents. Mr. Wallace, if you don't mind, if I did ask. Ladies, thank you so much for a great season.
One more thing here. Got just a little recognition here from the Davie County Board of Education, recognizes the women's tennis team on an absolutely outstanding year. So, Coach, if you can take that and present that to Mr. Nixon sometime.
Yes, I sure
it'd
will.
be good.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you so much. Board members, thank you so much for this. Recognize these wonderful young ladies. Great job, ladies.
Thank
Congratulations to the tennis team. That's quite an accomplishment. We congratulate you and thank you for all your hard work. And also to the coaches, thank you. I'd also like to congratulate South Davie on their hard work for United Way. It's always great when we're partnering with community organizations to help those in need. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Hartness for our holiday card art contest winners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would say congratulations to that tennis team. If you've never watched these girls, not only are they competitive, they're hardworking, but they have fun too. And it's so great to see a team come together like they have, making history and breaking records. And we'll have some more record breakers with us in January as we recognize some more teams that have made history this season. All right, this is one of my favorite board meetings because tonight we get to recognize our Christmas card winners, our holiday art contest winners. And before I recognize the students, I want to thank all of our art teachers and our teachers in Davie County that have worked with these students throughout their time in Davie County schools. So we have a wonderful Christmas card that we have put together as we do each year. And as what we will try to do is ask each of our students, when I call your name, if you would come forward and stand across the front, we'll recognize you as the holiday art contest winner for your school. So the first one would be Mariana Fuentes Roberts from Coolmey Elementary School. Come on up, Mariana. Sully Dodd from Kernatzer Elementary School. Fatima Torres from Moxville Elementary School. John Weiss from Pine Brook Elementary School. Yunso Cho from Shady Grove Elementary School. Gracie Gobble from William R. Davie Elementary School. From Central Davie Academy, Madison Duggins was not able to be with us tonight. Anaya Harris from North Davie Middle School. Anna Hernandez Lopez from South Davie Middle School. Lucy Bomar from William Ellis Middle School. Michaela Phelps from Davie County Early College High School. And Josh Meter from Davie County High School. These are your holiday art contest winners for 2016. And what we're going to do now is play a little video so that you can see their holiday art. And students, I would ask you if when your piece of artwork comes on the screen, if you would step forward so that people in the audience will know who was the artist. So here we go.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle, jingle, jingle bells. Jingle, jingle, jingle bells. Jingle, jingle bells. Miss Fanny Bells was seated by his side. The horse was lean and lame. Miss George just seemed his lot. We got into a drifted tank and then we got upside. Whoop! Whoop! Upside. Hey! Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey! Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, they're making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle.
You all did a fantastic job, and we in our office sure enjoyed laying all of you out, and we had a contest to judge which were the best, we thought, but they were all fantastic. But we have a gift for the winners at each of our grade levels. So tonight, I would like to recognize our elementary school winner this year, Yunso Cho from William R. Davie. Yunso from William R.? Shady Grove. See my glasses, I'm getting old, and these lines run together. So you're from Shady Grove, and it's a Walmart gift card. All right? Congratulations. All right, let's see if I can get this one right. Josh Beater from Davie High School, and I don't believe Josh is here tonight, right? Is our high school winner. So we'll give this to Josh. And last but not least, our middle school winner and our district cover of the Christmas card is Anaya Harris from North Davie Middle School. Come on up, Anaya. There's a gift card as well. I'd like to congratulate all of our students. This is the district gift Christmas card on the front, and then on the back are all of our students' artwork. And students, if you will, your parents, before you leave, you have a framed version of your artwork, as well as some of these Christmas cards that you can share with some special people in your family, and a certificate of congratulations from the board. So thank you for participating in the art contest. We'll look forward to more great art next Christmas season. Thank you.
And on behalf of the board, I would love to say, bless you for doing such a wonderful job. In Davie County, academics is important, so is the athletics, but the arts are alive and well and are important too. And you're a part of it. You're the cream of the crop. Merry Christmas and congratulations. We're proud of you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of our contest winners that submitted drawings. We certainly have a bright future in the arts here in Davie County. There's no question about that. I'll give everyone a moment to shuffle around. What happened out there, Beth? All right, there we go. About that addition. Yeah, yeah. Did we notify them? Did we let them know? Did we let them know? Okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. Don't need to wait on Savannah. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and we have added one item to that consent agenda. It's the purchase of an activity bus. It was actually approved in our capital outlay budget originally. Do you have anything about that, or I don't? It was just an addition, a late addition to the consent agenda. If we had any questions, otherwise we'll move on, and I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda. We have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do we have a second? We have a second by Ms. Horn. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. At this time, we're moving on to our business items, and the first item on our agenda is the merit-based pay plan, and I will call on Mr. Wallace to just explain. We had a little clarification in language, I think, that we changed that, and then after that, we can take some action.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Board, the proposal is the same. Really, in the clarification that's been referenced was just toward the bottom there to clarify the years of service. That's all. We just needed a beginning and an end, and because that years of service earns a particular point. Again, nothing's changed other than just we wrote into the proposal just a little clarification. That's all.
Just a date change as far as the length or the outline of years of service is what you're.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the merit-based bonus plan. So we have a motion by Ms. Owens. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Hales. At this time, do we have any discussion or any other questions or? Okay.
Dr. Hartness, I'll let you address this. At one point, we were talking about what incentive kinds of things could potentially disrupt or disenfranchise, I don't know what word fits in there best, about the team concept where a collaborative teacher works together. This merit-based bonus plan does not negate any kind of cooperative efforts or intentions. Is that correct?
This merit plan does not apply to teachers, so this is non-certified staff.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to the next item on our business agenda, and that's architectural services for the demolition project at Davie High, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Hartness to talk to us about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have attached to your agenda item the AIA contract with Fuller Architecture. As you recall, you selected Fuller Architecture to be your architect for the overseeing the demolition of the oldest buildings on the current Davie High School campus. And you authorized the superintendent to negotiate a contract with Mr. Fuller. So before you is a contract with Fuller Architecture for $38,800 to design and oversee the demolition of the oldest buildings on the current Davie High School campus, once the new school opens. We'll do a separate contract for surveying on that project. Mr. Fuller will bring to us for consideration before we would put out to bid for these services a design and a demolition plan. I'm really encouraged at how this process is working. Mr. Fuller's going to be meeting with our staff and with some county staff and with the firm that the county has hired to design a complex or a future use of that high school facility. So both teams will be working together to coordinate efforts. We foresee that this work would begin sometime in August of 2017 after those buildings are vacated, and would hopefully conclude about this time next year or before January of 2018. At that point, the county would then come in with whatever their recreation design might be. So there's two groups of people that will be working together, and the county will be soliciting input from the public on how that property might be used in the future. So we'll coordinate between our two government agencies, and these architectural firms will coordinate together to make this current high school campus something that this community, I think, will be very proud of and will be very beneficial to the community in the future. So the recommendation tonight is that you enter into a contract with Fuller Architecture for $38,800.
I'll say, just for a point of disclosure, full disclosure, we had this at the last meeting when we talked about it. There is no connection between me and Mr. Fuller. There is no connection, other than I know him to be a fine gentleman. So we have on the table a recommendation by the staff to enter into a contract with Fuller Architecture for $38,800, and I'll ask for a motion to do that.
I certainly will be privileged to make that motion. Mr. Fuller has worked at least 3 different projects that I'm aware of to construct, and now I would make the motion that he destruct what he's put together.
Thank you for that, Mr. Potts. Do we have a second? We have a second by Ms. Horn. Any other discussion, questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you for that. So, Mr. Fuller, you can get started work. This time, we're moving on to facilities, and we're going to talk about the Central Davie Education Center's HVAC upgrade. I'll ask Mr. Spillman to come up and talk to us about that.
Chairman Fuller, board, Dr. Hartness, and staff. Glad to be here tonight. This information is for the Phase 2 HVAC renovation of the building that's behind us over here, the 2-story building. Davie County Board of Education approved the HVAC window renovation project at Central Davie Education Center, the preschool, and the gymnasium in 2015-16 capital outlay budget resolution. The Phase 2 HVAC pre-bid meeting was held August 16, 2016. 4 contractors were invited to bid on the project. 3 contractors attended the pre-bid. 2 contractors submitted bids for the HVAC project, replacing the 1960 converted coal-fired boiler with radiators and window unit air conditioners. We will be replacing the existing equipment with 2 rooftop gas packs for the gym and the old locker room area, and a closet-type heat pump system for the classroom section, and which we have the bid tabulations is in your packet. And staff recommends that the contracting with Professional Air Services for $467,305. Do you have any questions?
Do we have any questions? Mr. Spillman? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to enter into a contract with Professional Air Systems for the amount of $467,305 to complete this work for us. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do we have a second? We have a second by Ms. Owens. Do we have any other questions or comments or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. At this time, we're moving on to, I almost passed that up. We're moving on to the budget update for that HVAC project, and I'll let Ms. Miller talk to us about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Fuller, members of the board, Dr. Hartness. This project that Mr. Spillman just referenced is funded by the county, and the total budget for the approved budget from the county for this project is $613,800. The acceptance of this contract with Professional Air Systems puts the project over budget by $43,583. So I bring to you this evening a budget amendment in the capital outlay budget to use fund balance in the amount of $43,583 to fund this project.
Okay, so we have a request to amend the capital outlay budget in the amount of $43,583 to fund completely this project. Mr. Spillman, would you mind explaining just real quickly, we actually had the budget together for this project back some time ago, and once we got it put together, we wound up being a little over budget, and you mind talking about that just for a second?
Yeah, I believe we started this conversation about this building in 2012 or 13.
Yeah.
It's been several years ago, and we kept pushing it because it was a very complex process.
Yeah.
And we, we done our best to estimate that, but sometimes we struggle with that. So, and with the rising economy, and it just didn't come in the budget. But I feel like we've got a good plan. We did do a little bit of value engineering on the project to get it down to where it was reasonable and still do the job that we need for it to do.
Okay, thank you for that. So we had it budgeted back in 2012, and we've done good to stay inside that increase, in my opinion. So the staff's asking for a motion to approve the budget amendment for $43,583 to fund this project completely. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Junker. Do we have any other discussion, any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Miller and Mr. Spillman. At this time, I'm going to call on Mr. Spillman again, and he's going to talk to us about a contract or purchase of some media center furniture at the new Davie High.
Yes, sir. Back in 2014, we started talking about this media center. We knew it was going to be the focal point of the school. So a committee was formed then with the goal of making the media center a 21st century learning space. Took many hours of research and planning went into this layout and furniture consideration for the space. Staff met with 5 vendors that specialized in media center furniture. These vendors were the Endicott Group, Educational Environments, formerly Dixie Equipment, Learning Environments, the Rufus Dale Company, and Contracts. The vendors gave their presentations to the committee. After much discussion, the committee unanimously presented to the committee. After much discussion, the committee chose Learning Environments as the final design and purchase for the furniture. Staff recommends purchasing the media center furniture in the amount of $179,782.01.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions for Mr. Spillman? I have one question. How do we stand as from our budget perspective? We're inside our budget for our allocation.
Absolutely.
Good. That's good. Perfect. That sounds good. I'll ask for a motion to approve the purchase of the media center furniture in the amount of $179,782.01 from Learning Environments Incorporated of Liberty, North Carolina. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Mr. Potts. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Drexler. Do you have any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Wilson for our public address to the board.
Board members, there's been such a lovely and festive atmosphere and so much joy to the world in this room that tonight on public speaking it is silent night. No baseball.
Ms. Wilson is always very creative. At this time, we're moving on to committee and staff reports. And first up, I will ask Dr. Hartness to talk to us about our board policy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have before you a number of policies for your information. None of these require any action tonight. I'd ask for you to review these policies over the Christmas break and be prepared to act on those in the month of January when we meet again. The majority of these policies were updated to match state and federal statutes that have changed. There's a couple I'll point your attention to. Policy 2115 is updated to reflect the unexpired term amendment that was part of the North Carolina law that changed that affects Davie County, it affects Guilford County, and just a few other counties in North Carolina. Policy 2200 just changes the terms in our policy that outlines your organizational meeting that you had tonight. It was originally in policy in July, now that is in December to match the election cycle. And policy 3620 addresses the position the board took and the staff recommended on participation of sixth grade students in their scholastic athletics. The majority of the other policies are pretty straightforward and simple changes. If you have any questions, I would encourage you to call my office and we'll be glad to talk with you about those policy recommendations that we'll bring to you in January for approval.
Thank you for that update, Dr. Hartness. We'll be prepared to, as Dr. Hartness has said, come back in January and act on those. At this time, we're moving on to finance, and I'll ask Ms. Miller to talk to us about the updated construction budget for the new high school.
Thank you, Chairman Fuller, members of the board, Dr. Hartness. You have two documents before you this evening. The first being a spreadsheet showing the original construction budget, the amended construction budget, and then the final column being the expenses that have been paid to date. To date, we have paid 68% of the new Davie County High School expenses for the new Davie County High School. Are there any questions regarding the budget and the amended budget and the expenses to date? Okay, and then the second spreadsheet shows you a list of the change orders to date. And those are also reflected on the first spreadsheet where the, with the middle column of the amended construction budget.
And these are, as a point of clarification, these change orders are all previously approved change orders.
That's correct. The date of the approvals are there in that left column.
Thank you.
So the date is the date that we signed the change orders. We're bringing you these change orders. Some of these ones at the bottom are for information, don't require any board action.
Right.
The majority of these change orders you'll see are the ball field changes with
Right.
Eastern Structures. And we'll list those out, and as Jim approves minor changes on a daily basis when he's working with them, he brings us those. You'll see change order number 6 and number 7 as a bundle from New Atlantic or from the architect, and we review those. And those are heavily reviewed and scrutinized before they come before staff and go through several levels of approval. If they're below $90,000, you in policy have given me the authorization to approve those, so we're bringing these to you for information. as we have in the past, if there's anything significant, we're going to bring it to you and discuss it first.
Right.
But these are typical changes that you would have in a construction project that is this size. I would point out to the board on the first page, up in the soft costs under furniture and equipment, you'll notice that media center furniture, we had $180,000 budgeted. So Michael got within a couple $100 of spending all that. Just wanted to point that out. But I will tell you that just coming up, we are ramping up to put out requests and put out purchase orders for a lot of this equipment right after Christmas. So I've asked Butch to come to you in January and talk to you about the selection of technology for the building. We'll be ramping up to get contracts in place and purchases in place for that. Michael has worked with the staff at Davie High and the staff in the central office on the furniture acquisition. Been a lot of discussion and conversation about the stadium sound and scoreboards and all those things that are part of bringing this thing together. Mr. Wallace and all of our staff have worked on that, and we'll be putting out contracts pretty soon that will take up the majority of that soft cost budget. So we're moving along. You will see that we still have an owner contingency balance of $780,957. So right now, everything is on budget and on schedule.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Hartness, I might should have caught Mr. Moorfield for this, so if you can answer, please do. If you can't, on change order number 6, it says relocation of cable and irrigation controls. Do you know what happened there, or why that it was put in the ground and then it had to be relocated? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't have specifics on that, Mr. Drexler. I don't. I apologize. The ballast under the bleachers, those are under the bleachers. There were some drains, there was a water line, there was some type of cable relocation, and I don't have the details on the irrigation controls. Michael does? Michael can share with us.
Yes, I sure can. The way it was drawn out when we added the practice field and the baseball field and stuff on that, the controls were going to be at 3 different places. And that was going to be a logistic nightmare to try to control that irrigation. So we chose to put it all in one place, and our long-term goal is to control it through our DDC controls to where you don't have a little time clock there. We can control it remotely. So that's the goal, and that's why that was changed.
Thank you for that information. Do we have any other questions? Thanks for the update, guys. Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to our 2017, 2018 school calendar, and I'll call on Mr. Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, you will see there description that we had a group of parents, school representatives, and administrators that met on 2 different occasions, worked through some calendars. As I remind you again, we're still stuck between 2 bookends of when we have to start and when we have to end. And we're very limited, again. As you'll say, we're hoping, as we've seen in the legislator update, that, or priorities, that we might get some flexibility there. Would be very nice, but for now, there's, we're presenting two of these calendar options to you. I'll be glad to answer any questions. The differences are listed there, and if I, again, answer any questions, I will be glad to. Otherwise, we will send these 2 calendar options out to the full staff tomorrow to be voted on, and I will bring you that decision in January.
Strictly hypothetical, but if the law changes, what process must we use if it, let's say they say we could adjust the calendars for 2017?
Yes, sir, Mr. Potts. That's, if they do, they most likely will make it effective the following year.
I see.
Typically, yes.
They actually wouldn't make, and it would be very unusual for them to ever go home before school starts next year. So, I mean, really and truly, we rarely have anything before August, and it's off in September, October.
Have any other questions about the calendar? Seeing none, we'll move on to transportation, and I'll call on Mr. Naylor to come out and talk to us about the WEX fuel card program.
Thank you, Chairman Fuller, board members, Dr. Hartness. I'm the guy y'all been waiting for, the last on the agenda. Just a couple items of information that I'm going to share with you. We currently have a gasoline storage tank that's above ground, 10,000 gallons, that's been in place about 25 years, and it's reached its life expectancy. We have gathered information about replacing the tank. As you know, a couple years ago, we quit providing fuel services for Davie County, and they went out on their own and started with a fuel card program. And so it's going to cost about $35,000 roughly to replace our tank that we have now. We were using about 8,000 gallons every 3 weeks when the county was a part of that service. And currently we're only using about 400 gallons a week now, which equates to about 2 tanker loads of fuel every year. It's not really good to have that kind of fuel sitting around collecting moisture and those kinds of things. So we decided to take advantage of the state contract, number 405G, which is a fuel fleet card program offered by WEX Bank Incorporated. The county uses this same program. They went to that when they left our service. And there's no cost to us up front. There's no annual fees. The fuel cost per gallon is basically a wash from what we're paying now. We filled out the tax forms and sent those into WEX Incorporated, and they will deduct the federal and state motor fuel taxes before they bill us. And so we really won't see any difference other than that we don't have to manage the tank, maintain it, and pay for any electrical costs and those kind of things. So we feel like that's the best option for us. We have solicited prices from Southern Pump and Tank to remove the old tank once the inventory is depleted from it. And so we'll probably include that in next year's capital budget just to remove the old tank and dispose of it so it won't be on our property. Are there any questions about that process?
The logistics help me through that, of actually fueling the vehicles. How does that happen?
And this is for gasoline only. We'll continue to use diesel like we've been using. On our buses, we have a mobile fuel truck that we fuel at our station or our bus garage. Then we go out and fuel on site. These are only gasoline vehicles. There are about 65 vehicles roughly that will have it looks like a credit card. It'll be in the vehicle, and the drivers that are authorized will have PIN numbers. So when they need fuel, they can go to any service station that has an electronic type pump and insert that card, put their PIN number in, the mileage of the vehicle, and it tracks those transactions immediately. We have online access that we can go and pull reports down, and if there's any cards lost or things that happen of that nature, we can cancel those remotely. So that's how the system works. And unless things change on our diesel usage, we'll probably continue to maintain that. We have 12,000 gallons of storage on diesel that we use. We use roughly about 600 gallons of fuel a day for our buses. Any other questions?
Seems like it'd be a whole lot more convenient and maybe even save some fuel consumption if you've got multiple locations where you can fuel versus having to come back to one centralized location throughout the county.
And the county realized that savings when they went to this program. We, for example, at Ellis Middle School, rather than them having to come over to the shop to get fuel for their mowers and equipment, they can go to a service station closer to them, use the card and get fuel. And if driver's ed's out driving wherever they go, they can stop and get fuel and not have to come back to Knoxville. So we probably will recognize some savings just in logistically by being able to have multiple fuel sites instead of just one.
Sounds good. Have any other questions for Todd? Thank you. Thank you. You gonna move on to the next item there?
Yeah, if we can get, I don't know if our control room's working there. We can get the school website to come up. That big wad of wires y'all saw, Mr. Moorfield might not be connected yet. The next thing I want to talk about is a program. Many of you may have heard of TIMS, our Transportation Information Management System, which is mandated by the state for us to use. And it's a program that's designed by Edulog Incorporated. And we have a TIMS coordinator who actually is retiring at the end of this year, and we've hired a position to fill that spot. But this, they offer a software called Web Query that's an add-on to the program. And we feel like that this will be a benefit to us. Do I need to push a button? All right. So this is the main page of our school system website. And Edulog's program called Web Query, it basically taps into our attendance and boundary system in TIMS, and it provides some information for us. Mary has loaded under portals in our transportation inquiry, and when you go to that location, it brings up Web Query. And I just want to run you through an example real quick and kind of show you what the benefits are of this program. There's no student information that's available to the public. It only lists current active school bus stops. And so, for example, if you were a parent moving into Davie County and you wanted to research what school or what district you might be moving into, you can come here and put your address in, and then it will show you what schools you would be eligible to attend, where the closest bus stop would be. It also has a link to the school board policy about transportation, and it gives you an opportunity to sign up to ride a school bus. So we'll start on page 1. Currently, we have the 16-17 school year, and this disclaimer here kind of explains that, give a 10-minute window when you're looking for these stops. And if you're unsure about whether or not you're eligible for transportation, you can click on this little highlighted area, and it will take you directly to the school board transportation policy. And you can read all you'd like to know about school bus transportation in Davie County. And if once you read through that process, if you're unfamiliar with it, you can go back and put your address in. I'm going to put in the school board office, and all you really have to do is put a street number in and begin typing the street name and click go, and it'll give me the option of all the streets that start with CHE, which is what I put in there. So I'm going to look at 220 Cherry Street. And what you see next is the school name, the distance to the school from the address that was entered, and the eligibility, of course, and what grades that school would serve. And so I'm just going to, for example, if I had a middle schooler, I would click on South Davie Middle School. And what it does next is it shows me the 4 closest stop options to that location. Generally, you see 2 stops in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And so looking at the first one here, we have a stop at Cherry Street in North Main. It's just a little over 1/10 of a mile from my address I entered, bus number 174. And the stop time is 7:37 a.m. And so this tells me as a parent that, hey, this is a pretty good option for me. If I didn't particularly like that stop location, there's another one over at Depot Street and Pine Street, but it's further away. The difference is it's a different bus, serves the same school, and the time obviously is different. We really don't encourage parents to pick and choose where they want to get on and off the bus, but at least it allows them some options here to see what's currently in place. And if I'd chosen a location that was further away than 2/10 of a mile or the half mile, depending on how the policy reads, then we could create a new stop for this person. But if I want to go and look at this stop, I would click on view the map, and here the area that you see outlined is the boundary for South Davies School District. I can click this button, of course, and turn that off, or I can turn it back on. It depends on whether you like to look at colors or not. So when I zoom into this location, the little blue stick man right here is 220 Cherry Street. That's the address that I typed in. Option number 1 is the first stop option here, Cherry Street in North Main. And then, so logistically, I can see where those stops are in relationship to where I live. And this information is going to be available to the general public, real estate agents who might call in and say, hey, what district is this address I'm trying to sell in? They can look at this information day or night, whether we're working or not. We update the program depending on how many changes we make daily, but it may be a daily update, or it may be 2 or 3 days, or even once a week, depending on the time of the school year. And so once I figure out which stop I think might suit me best, I can click on this hyperlink here, and it takes me straight to the registration form that I can complete for my child and submits it to us for a transportation request. And then what we will have in the future, and next year, we'll have our school bus coordinators respond to the parent with the email address that they put in this form here, so that we can notify them where their stop location. Of course, we still encourage them to come to open house, but what we're trying to do here is use the information we have to offer a service to our parents outside of school hours, when employees don't have to be there to answer the phone. They can search on their own time, and they can submit this information. And that's just kind of a brief example of how this system works. You can obviously go back and put another address in and continue to look. If you have kids that going to a different school, you can search for every school in the district you live in. And if you want to be selective when you're picking the address, if you only have an 8th grade student and you want to just see that information, you can certainly drill down and do that. And that's pretty much a quick example of how web query works. It is, being from the portals page, it's accessible from every school's website as well. So if somebody's looking on Pine Brook's website and they go to the portals, they can see the transportation inquiry. It's on our transportation page from the main page as well. By selecting our department, and go to transportation inquiry, it takes you back to the same link. So are there any questions about web query and how it might work?
Have any questions?
Is there a fee structure that goes with this?
Yeah, we do pay just a small fee for an annual subscription to web query. I think it's about $2,000, give or take. I didn't bring those numbers with me, but I think it's very well worth the time and the money that it saves us in the office.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, to me, if you can direct folks to this information, it'll save you guys a ton of time looking and digging through the information, whatever. It's very, very informative.
And we have a lot of employees that come over from other counties that are not familiar with Davie County, and it even helps our staff quite a bit too.
Right.
We've been using this behind the scenes a little while. We've had our bus coordinators testing, just kind of playing around with it, and it's been very successful. And it comes, we even have a bus coordinator, a former bus coordinator here that was very excited about this when we got it. So I think our staff will appreciate it as much as the public.
Good. That's good.
Chairman Fuller, if I may, I want to say thank you to Todd and Board. I want you to understand what I appreciate about him and Michael both is their efforts to keep us on the cutting edge of technology. And the day and time we live in, the instant information or easy access to information. And we got to be careful with that with confidentiality, we understand that. But what we've just done here, not only can we tell you when our buses, where they stop, when their doors open, with our Synovia, now this is phenomenal. And again, Ms. Lyons sitting right there, serving as a building administrator, Jenda, Dub, I know you understand this, Barbara. This is phenomenal. We put so much information at the fingertips before they ever step onto a campus. And it can be completed, answers, and if you'll ever come to an open house, I promise you some of the longest lines and the most sweaty brows are at bus lines. But this is phenomenal. I want to say thank you to Todd for continue, even with the WEX card system, again, efficiency, savings, safety. This is good stuff, very good stuff. And I'm really proud of both of them for the efforts that they're making. And you'll hear more about our door system and the securities that we'll have with cards and the ability to manipulate those, both WEX cards and key cards, as we move forward with the new school. So Todd, Michael, thank you. I really appreciate the job you're doing.
No problem. I will say this, I've joked with Mr. Wallace the other week. I was actually able to work on a school bus on FaceTime. And we had a team coming back from Charlotte that had an emergency buzzer going off. And I think your daughter was on the bus. She probably is the one that caused the problem. But I shouldn't say that in public. But anyway, we were able to locate the exact location of the bus by our GPS locating system, and the driver called and explained the problem, and so she put me on FaceTime and I told her where to look for the wires and what the switch was, and we were able to take care of the problem so they could continue on home. And technology didn't exist like that just a few years ago. However, we can't fix all of our problems with technology. We still have to have some common sense and folks that are in the seats. But I appreciate your support. I know these new guys, men and women on the board, will certainly continue that support as we move forward. And I thank you for your time. If no more questions, that's all I got.
With the example he's talking about, was Todd was available at 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, and the cost that we would have incurred for somebody had to come get the bus, we'd had to get kids home, we'd had to get a bus close by to come out. And that's what it would have been, like you said, 2 or 3 years ago. And it was interesting little night, but no, my daughter didn't do that. But either way, she helped us at least get some FaceTiming going. And I want to say again, you're right, Todd, and thank you again. That was using that technology. Sure thing.
Thank you for that update. Thank you for all that information, and we certainly do appreciate all your efforts. At this time, we are down to our closed session portion of the meeting, and I will ask for a motion to go into closed session to preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to the North Carolina General Statutes listed on our agenda, to discuss personnel matters protected by state law, and to discuss student matters made confidential by general statutes and FERPA. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Ms. Horn. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Drexler. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. We are now in closed session.